well. So we can just talk about Mag next. All right, for Mag, let's kill these enemies real quick. All right, as we all know, Mag is pretty decent right now. I should probably change weapons to showcase this a little bit more. But right now, Mag's general plan is that you're going to throw a bubble down. Oh, whoops. My holds are inverted. You're going to throw a bubble down. You're going to bring all the enemies together. You're going to shoot into the bubble and kill all the enemies. And then whenever your 2 is over, you're going to blow it up. And it's going to deal a bunch of damage and a pretty large AoE to the enemies around you. Right? That's basically what Mag is up to right now. Her kit is centered around her 2. In addition to that, she has her 1, which is her pull, which doesn't see much use, but has some interesting effects already built into it that we're going to talk about. And she has her 3, which, while it technically strips armor, strips a flat amount of armor and lowers a flat amount of shields, which is not very good. Also, she has her 4. Her 4, actually, really, really good, with one minor quibble that I have with it. So for her 4... for those of you that don't know, she generates a ton of shields with her 4 whenever she hits enemies with it. She's basically going to cap out on her overshields any and every time she casts her 4. Even with the huge damage reduction these enemies have, like, you're going to be getting tons and tons of overshield and having no problem surviving as long as you can hit your 4. The only problem I have with the 4 is that you can't move during it and it has no synergy with her kit. So, the baseline for what I would do with her 4 is pretty much just make it so that it deals double damage to enemies who have been polarized. That's pretty minor, but I think it would help a little bit in making it feel like her abilities go together. Also, for her 2 has a problem with not helping her with how she wants to set up. The way that Mag would like to set up is in the center of an area, a highly trafficked zone. So in this example, these enemies are up here, and they're going to come down a ramp towards me. In an ideal world, I would just be able to put my 2 down here. Not this new hold thing. I would just be able to put my 2 down here, and then the enemies would run into it. And now I have, like, a funnel of enemies coming into this that are then going to... it's going to explode and kill all the enemies in a fairly large area. And in addition to that, it would allow me to put down a safety bubble where if I needed a bubble over here, put a bubble here, put a bubble there, and then I have a bubble that I'm in that's redirecting fire away from me, and a bubble I'm working on for killing enemies. So I would detach placing a bubble from needing to go on an enemy, just being a thing you can put down wherever you want, to make it so that Mag has more control over the battlefield and more control over where she's actually using her abilities. This would make it a lot less clunky to use her with the guns that are good with this ability, like just projectile-based weapons that have a lot of punch through. So you can put it down here. I have like all the projectiles spinning, because a common problem with her too is that if you put it too close to a wall, the projectiles will spin into the wall and then dissipate, which blows. In addition to those changes to her 2, there would be one additional change, and it would be with her 1. So her 1 is a pull. You can see that this is a much more effective pull than Zephyr's. All that needs to happen with this is that whenever you put your 2... not this. Whenever you put your 2 down... grab energy. Whenever you put your 2 down, if you use your 1 on your 2, instead of pulling the enemies out of it, which is not good, you instead have your 1 activate your 2 to pull enemies in a 360 around it into the center of it. So that you have a way to expand the range that your 2 is affecting by using another ability. In addition to that, for those that don't know, and I cannot blame you for not knowing, Mag's 1 has this nice little thing on it that says drop chance. That is the drop chance of energy orbs from enemies killed by pull. But as we all know, pull doesn't do any kind of significant damage once we're past like level 10. So in order for this to be effective, all you have to do is give this a duration. Give it like a 4-second duration. If the enemy dies within 4 seconds of being affected by pull, they will drop, at the percentage drop, an energy orb. That gives Mag a pretty nice way to create energy by utilizing her 1. It gives her a lot of incentive to place a magnetized zone, pull enemies into it, and then kill those enemies very, very quickly to get energy back, or build enough duration that you don't need to kill them right on the spot. And then her 4 would give her, you know, a damage boost to enemies that are in her 2, which is kind of nice, but then also a good way to survive by just building up a bunch of shields. And then for her 3, really the only change that this needs is instead of reducing a flat amount, this needs to reduce by a percentage. I actually don't think that this percentage should be like particularly high because Mag can do a lot of damage, but I think it should be probably like 30% base. If it's not 30% base, it should just be equal to Hildren's baseline, and make those abilities pretty similar, but then this one just costs more energy, which I think is also fine. And if you do that, then I think Mag becomes a very, very good Warframe, and she'd be an excellent starter at that point. Oh, also, in terms of making her a starter, there's actually a really particularly annoying thing that is only really for new players that I noticed when playing Mag. The base range of Magnetize needs to be set like Rhino's Roar's duration. The range of this ability should always be the rank 3 range. The early ranks of range on this ability are pitiful and might as well not exist. It's like really, really sad. So I think this range should be consistent throughout the like rank 1 through 3. So that, yeah. And yeah, like as Freezer just said, also the durations. Sorry if you muted Freezer. But yeah, I think that would change Mag to be considerably more effective at like what she wants to do, and also just be better for just general gameplay. Because she would do more of what you want, and you'd be in less situations where you go, ugh. What about the augments for Mag? I mean, most of the augments are going to be pretty much the same. I don't think there's any that are going to have too much trouble transferring right over to that. Let me look at them real quick. Magnetized discharge. Yeah, recast on the target to detonate. Yeah, just recast on the bubble to detonate it. Enemies hit have a 50% chance to be disarmed. Yep. Range. Yep, that's all. That's all normal. Greedy pull. This is exactly the same. Enemy weapons are jammed. Yep, this is exactly the same. And armor decreased by 50%. Unable to move. Yep, this is also exactly the same. Yeah, well, none of these augments would need to be changed in any way. Yeah, like this one would need to be like very minorly changed so that you could detonate it. It depends on how this was made. This might need a minor change, but it would function identically. We have old greedy pullback? Certainly not. There's no way they'll do that. But yeah, I think that would bring Mag up to a really, really good spot.